As somebody that's reviewed hundreds of different actors, after watching the entire superhero show The Boys in the last 3 days and taking notes on every single person's acting, I realized there are some very great actors, but also some surprisingly bad ones. So today, let's deeply analyze every single actor from the show and rank them on this amazing tier list. We'll do this by analyzing their most emotional scenes and looking for any pros or cons. Firstly, let's talk about an actor whose ranking will actually surprise you. Let's talk about Starlight, played by Erin Moriarty, and why her acting is a big hit or miss. Let's start it off by analyzing one of her best scenes that you probably didn't even notice. Episode 1x5, 19 minutes in, when Hughie asks Starlight for tickets to a meet and greet. Here, she perfectly acts out what it looks like to feel used. The way she immediately breaks eye contact, opens her mouth only slightly to hide how shocking Hughie's request was. Another interesting thing is, she only looks back up at him at the end of this entire moment. Putting it all together, you can clearly already see Erin is great at subtle acting, but is that all she can do? Because if you analyze specific scenes later in the show, Erin has a very hard time showing genuine happiness. For example, in season 3 finale when she's saying bye to Maeve, pay attention to how emotionless her face is. The way she doesn't seem to really care that Maeve is leaving, these little fake smiles here and there, it's not genuine. And this happens many times throughout the show. And this should at least indicate to you guys that she doesn't have that full range of emotion that we're looking for. Don't get me wrong though, once again we can see her subtle acting is great. Looking at another instance in episode 3x4, a beautiful soft crying scene that brings out these talents. Here it's like you can see the inside of her soul breaking down. She's smart by acting the scene with little to no movement, and she simply opens her crying eyes and does what Homelander commands. That's it. Overall, Erin, we've discussed how you're pretty emotionless and kind of bland most of the time, but you do have good subtle scenes. I'd rank you in the good category. You're good, okay? Guys, trust me, compared to a lot of these other actors we're gonna talk about, she is nothing compared to them. But, you know, good for you. But anyways, next let's talk about Butcher. The corner store meat butcher is acted by Karl, and his acting completely stands out because he does one thing better than the rest: vocal modulation. An acting term where an actor will simply adjust their own volume in the middle of a scene to make a deeper impact. Kind of like if I'm talking to you like this and then I'm like, hey, what are you doing there? I told you not to touch it. You guys see how I went from there to here? That's basically it. In episode 1x6, 22 minutes in, when they're at a soup roundtable, Karl lands all the basics of having good body language, strong eye contact, but he also shows a great contrast by making simple whispers in the beginning of the scene.
You're pathetic, soup-worshipping cunts.
To then amping up, getting really loud.
Where's your fucking rage? Your self-respect!
And then slowly tapering back off. This modulation is so attractive for us viewers to watch. The point of this character is an impulsive man that has something bottled up deep inside, and he shows that off perfectly right here. That impulsiveness is reflected in his voice going up and down. He's like trying to let it out, but he reserves himself. But since this is a critical, harsh review, we have to look through everything. There is still definitely quite a bit of improvement he could have put in these scenes. Like when Karl is snapping at these people and goes extreme, he can definitely bring that body language up even more. Like get in these poor people's faces, yell at your instructors full E. It would simply help make an even bigger impact. That's all I'm saying, Butcher. But now, before we talk about one of his best acting moments ever, and maybe one of the best moments in the entire show, let me show you another very strong point with Karl's acting. In episode 1x6, pay attention to how his entire emotion changes only using his eyebrows. These right here. Karl simply relaxes his eyebrows, and that's enough for a beautiful transition in the scene. An aggressive, agitated person turned into an innocent face with just a minor tweak right here. Only an advanced actor could pull this off. Now let's talk about his best acting scene yet. Episode 2x8, 48 minutes in, when the quiet guy finally lets it all out. The way he screams while looking up in such desperation, the way his eyes soften as he gets his last ever look at his wife, this right here is a realistic acting performance. And following it up, just examine the way he holds her head, the way his lips start quivering while he's crying, the silent cry. Whoa! Butcher, you're officially the first actor to make it in the great category. And if you guys have watched The Arrow, this reminds me of Slade Wilson a lot. Like the exact same mannerism. He looks like him kind of a little bit too. Like, what the hell? And yeah, Butcher, like you're hot, I guess, dude. Sexy as. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry about that, but what if I told you guys about an actor that does everything Butcher did? And what if I told you this actor does it without saying a singular word? Let's talk about Kimiko, played by Karen Fukuhara. Karen's acting was so powerful that it took the show from a funny, gory superhero show, and just for the couple episodes like episode 2x2, it transformed the entire vibe into a sad brother and sister tragedy. Look at the way she looks at her brother. Combine the fact with her very sad, soft, quivering lips, she's able to show off tremendous sadness with just body language alone. And fast forward to the next season, she'll double down on these lip techniques, like in this instance where you'll see her quiver her lips, kind of flicker them up to show off that genuine smile. It just looks so much more authentic and real than just someone smiling like this. Hey, it's way more authentic. But now here's the even better part that makes her truly stand out. This innocent Kimiko with the soft little eyes is the same sinister one we see at the end of episode 2x3. She doesn't only use these soft eyes for sadness, but she can transform them into a very horror look. This right here is genuinely very, very talented. I'm gonna be honest, Karen, sweetheart, you land yourself also an amazing spot. And trust me guys, it's very rare to be an amazing, and I'd actually put her in front of Butcher only because she can't use her voice, so she doesn't have any of that vocal modulation. I mean, technically she does use her voice like when she's trying to break dance in the hospital, but like, do we count that? Do you guys want me to analyze that? But I'm sorry guys, enough edging you guys. Let's talk about what you really want to hear. Let's talk about an actor that just might make it into the Oscar-worthy level. Let's talk about Antony Starr, aka Homelander. Now Homelander has 3 secret acting tricks that make him completely stand out. And we can start this off by analyzing one of his best acting scenes that you probably brushed right over. In episode 2x8, 50 minutes in, the robotic way his face shifts from giggling to crying is insane. It's insane. It's done so fast using specific muscle along with the flexing of his eyebrows. In this acting book, as you can see, a great actor shows off anger by pulling his eyebrows together and down. And for most people, if you guys try this out, it's very awkward and unnatural to like do this. But Antony is not only able to just do this quickly, but instead he goes in and out of this motion 3 separate times very, very fast, which gives off such a creepy vibe and genuinely had me terrified the first time I watched it. I was scared back there, I'm not gonna lie. What the hell is that? And if you guys got scared because of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel because the creepiness doesn't stop here. Because the second reason Antony stands out is due to his specific muscle control. Let's look at episode 3x1, 24 minutes in. It's such a missable technique, but notice the way he very smoothly relaxes his lips while also relaxing the cheek, which brings his smiley face down to an immediate stop. The impressive part is how naturally he can do it. Now let's finish Antony off by looking at easily the best scene in the entire show yet. Of course, I am talking about the ending of episode 3x2. The speech that would go on to be sampled by Metro Booming and make one of the best song intros to date. Let's break down what the hype was all about. To put it simply, ladies and gentlemen, it's Antony's confidence. The way he snaps at the audience. It's done so realistically because of these smart pauses after every sentence, which lets the impact of the speech build up. Along with the harsh tone he delivers some of these words like the "I am better." It's just so inviting.
I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better!
As a quick bonus, I want to show you one more really cool scene where Homelander breaks character, where he's not putting on a facade or a mask. It's the first time we see real sadness. Episode 1x7. Do you see the pattern here? Just like the speech, it's the effective pausing between the words that make them hit. To be honest, I actually had even more footage of Antony's acting marked down. I'll let you pause it and read it here, but to be honest, I've said more than enough. I'm ready to give him a ranking. Antony, we're gonna finish you off with the first ever Oscar-worthy ranking. Easily deserving I love you, baby boy. And I'm just gonna give you guys a hint. There's another Oscar-worthy character we talk about later that you definitely don't expect. You can leave a guess right now, but it's not who you expect. But that's later on. For now, before we address Maeve, who actually doesn't rank that high at all, let's speed run through some other side characters and see if they can even hold up. Probably not. First, let's look at Mother's Milk, played by Laz Alonso. And this man is actually the first actor that might not make it in these top 3 categories. And here's the sad reasons why. First, examining the scene where MM punches Todd in the face, the context is an angry guy punching his ex's new partner. But it's hard to see true anger come out here. He stays pretty reserved the whole scene, and even the punch itself is kind of comical. I know Laz would do a lot better in these serious scenes if he simply flexed his eyebrows just a little bit more, maybe extend extended the jaw, but none of that is really present here. Even during the most intense scenes where he got PTSD in season 3, if you critically think about it, it's actually just the editing and the fast shots that make the scene more powerful, not himself. And since I'm already beating up Mother's Milk, let's just land the point home. Episode 3x6, 32 minutes in. It's a great scene in terms of the context because is letting a tear loose under the whole tough guy persona. But if you analyze just the acting here, all he did was let a tear slip loose. His talent itself didn't make the scene great. I'm sure compared to other B-list actors he would shine through, but when you're in a show with every actor being so talented, Lazzy boy, you don't shine on the same level. I'm sorry. You're unfortunately gonna be the first actor we rank as average. I still love you though, so like we can maybe share a kiss or something. But his Mother's Milk partner in crime, Sergio the Frenchie, is he gonna have the same outcome? Actually, no. Let me explain why Sergio's actor, Tomper Capone, gets a better ranking by looking at one of the coolest acting techniques used yet. But before that, let's look at episode 1x4 so we can address Sergio's eyebrow game. Look at the way his eyebrows fur and his eyes only slightly water. It's such a great but missable complexion that truly brings out his sadness. He does this many times throughout the show, and here he also adjusts his eye area a lot. This is one of the more advanced techniques we'll look at today, and it's mainly done to show hesitation and nervousness in Serge. So already we can see Tomper is not afraid to use these cool techniques, bro. Yeah. But now let's get into his craziest one yet. Episode 3x6, 28 minutes in. The way Serge is tied up in a hectic environment, but his eyes are paralyzed at only one thing. This shot of him twitching is so good because of how realistic he's acting it. He's not jumping all over the place like a frog on Compound V. He naturally shows off what it's like to be disassociated. Like he's fully given up on his life. So remarkable. But with these compliments aside, the thing that's holding him back is the other 95% of the time, it's just basic acting. Maybe it's the show's fault for not putting him in more emotional scenes, but most of the scenes where it's him and Kimiko, it's generic happy smiles. A bunch of little laughters, one kiss in the hospital, nothing that just pushes him into excellence where I'm like, wow, that's the one. So Mr. Tomper, you're not average, you're good. You're good. And unfortunately, things aren't about to get happier just yet. Because now let's talk about a main character whose acting is very disappointing. Let's talk about Maeve, acted by Dominique Mcelligot, the actor who truly struggles with body language. Besides jumping out of Watt in the finale, her body doesn't move much, which is a very big problem when you realize that body language is a major portion of communicating your feelings. So now let's address some scenes that show off this very weak body language. Episode 2x6, 54 minutes in. This scene is a very tough argument where emotions are very high, but Maeve literally only uses two different poses here, the hand on chest and the very stiff pointing. Putting it all together, it gives off a soup that is unconfident and scared to express themselves fully. I use this scene because it shows it off well, but to be honest, the entire show is kind of like this. But now here's the weird twist. Look at episode 2x8, 11 minutes in. Her face is giving very strong emotional acting, but the hand is so oddly still. Like it actually makes the scene look really odd when you first analyze it. Why is the hand not flexing, not moving around, while her face is giving off cusses and very angry, mean looks? But at least this weird scene kind of proves to us that even though her body language is kind of lacking, her facial acting, oh, that's strong. Looking in episode 2x2, look at the way she's so saddened with the story she's telling. Her eyes, her pupils start to slowly look down and away, almost like her mind is lost in some very saddened thought, and the entire reality around her is irrelevant. She gives it off in such a heartfelt way and she gains major points here. Sweetheart, if it wasn't for your acting up here, you'd be in the bad category, but we'll put you in good. Also, I was gonna include Maeve's friend that she kind of kisses on the lips sometimes. I think her name's Elena. You guys can see the script right here. You can look at this if you want. I realized one scene itself for a side character is just hard to rate, so I'm not including it. But now, baby girls, tell me, are you guys surprised we still haven't talked about the main character of the show yet? Well, actually, I don't know. Like, do people think Hughie's the main character or Homelander? Because they're kind of like the main people. Like, which one is it? Either way, one thing is very clear. Hughie is nowhere near the level of Homelander. Not even close. But Hughie's actor Jack Quaid still has some very talented things we can point at. Firstly, in the earlier scenes, whenever we saw Hughie get a vision like episode 1x4 and he was meant to act out a paranoid, freaked out person, he always did this amazing jittery eyed motion where his eyes would blink really fast. On top of that, he'd add a very cool slight cheek twitch that got me so tensed up. You have to pay really close attention to these micro changes, but once you spot them, you can see how much they add to the scene and how talented he really is. But just like some of his other co-stars, Jack doesn't have that full expression we need. If you take scenes like episode 1x7 when he's telling his dad to get to safety, he's not pleading. He's not desperate like a son wanting his father to run for his life would be. He's showing worriness, but not fear. That is the difference. And this bad pattern carries on throughout season 2. If we compare it to something like The Flash, where he was in the exact same situation, begging for his dad's life, the acting is a night and day difference. Grant Gustin is pleading. He's like, yo, get out of here, dad, let him go. While Jack is kind of like, hey, go, daddy, go. Like, inshallah. Some people might say it's an unfair comparison, but it's close enough. All the way into season 3, episode 4, the aggressive nature we're looking for, it's starting to come through this time. It's kind of getting there, but it just hasn't poked through yet. It's not the rage I need. Skillful micro expressions, I'm proud of you, baby boy, but a lot of the other cast can do the same, so But now let's get into some more of the fun stuff. Next, let's talk about the Deep, played by Chase Cross. Mr. Chase here surprisingly has very good acting, but unfortunately he's basically only used for comedy. There are some very great acting scenes of his, like episode 2x2, 24 minutes in, where he's crying because his gills can talk back to him, and you'll realize he has one of the best crying faces in the entire show. The blank stare, the eyebrow twitches, the forehead winks. This was supposed to be a funny scene, but I could personally feel the sadness for him when I watched it. It truly sucks the show only kept him as a funny comedy relief, because rare scenes like this truly show that Gossip Girl has taught Chase how to have emotion. Gossip Girl! Nate Archibald? No one watches the show? Okay, I guess. This one's a quick one because I don't see much else emotion. I'd have to give Chase good. He plays his role, but his role is nothing impressive when it comes to acting. But now this next person I'm gonna rank is gonna be surprising for a lot of you. Why would I ever include Madelyn Stillwell? Because she rarely pops up in the show. The reason is, while watching the show, I couldn't help but notice how unique her acting was. Elizabeth Shue, the girl who plays Madelyn, has to basically act out what it's like to put on a happy corporate face 24/7. In episode 1x6, when Starlight blackmails her, it's so interesting how she acts this out by only narrowing her eyes. Because she wants to keep her positive image and she doesn't want to let her face slip, she keeps this half smile on the entire time. Even after Starlight walks out of the room, she breaks an object, but she still holds that poisonous, weird smile. It's so impressive. And here's the better part. That puppet-looking smile is different from the genuine smile that comes out at episode 1x8, when she first gets a bonus at her job. Now that you can visually compare both scenes, it's even more impressive how Elizabeth shows off a corporate fake version of herself and then also acts out a genuine Madelyn. It's two versions of Madelyn and she shows it off elegantly. I know this next move I'm about to make is gonna be insane, I know, but I'm so ready to put her in Oscar worthy. I'm not even kidding, I'm so ready. I know people are about to start crying in the comments. Oh my god, Kosho, but you shut the hell up, bro. Do you see what's going on here? Elizabeth Shue, you baby girl. I'm putting you as the second person in Oscar worthy. Oh my god, was that a good move? Oh my gosh. Now that we've collected ourselves, you've left the hate comment. Love you too. Do you guys remember how we said that this was one of the best acting scenes in the entire show? Well, what if I told you it wasn't mainly because of Butcher, it was because of Becca, a character played by Patty Shantel Vansanten. And here are the two ways Shantel excelled in her acting. Firstly, she uses her speech very cleverly. In the season 2 finale, exactly 40 minutes in, look at the way she repeats her sentences, the way she lets loose of that emotion. And more specifically, watch this clip and see how she says every single word differently with a different tone.
Don't say that, you have to come with us. Don't you say that! Stop it, stop!
And also 10 minutes later, she does the exact same thing when she's dying.
Sure, he knows that.
Her tone is so out of breath. She stutters her dying words so hard that it's actually almost impossible to understand what she's saying. This is a very beautiful showcase of her skill that she does so many times throughout the show. Another phenomenal example where she's not close to death, episode 2x4. You can underscore the same tone changing and the out of breath acting. Take a look.
I didn't come to you because I was scared. Because I knew that you'd chase after him and you would seek revenge and it wouldn't be good for anybody.
So Shantel, baby girl, this tone changing easily puts you in the amazing category, but I'd put you just in the lower end of it. Sucks that your own son kind of killed you, huh? You loser. Wait, okay, so this is an acting video. Should I try to act out like trying to like laugh at her but then like be sad about it? Let's try, ready? Yo, sucks your own son killed you. Was that good? I gotta work on my I gotta work. But now let's address a man that many people have high hopes for. The second fastest man alive. A-Train, acted out by Jesse Usher. Firstly, when looking at his serious scenes, episode 1x4, the way his face very smoothly gets serious after not getting the answer he wants is very impressive. On top of that, how he bursts up for a quick second with his fist, it does look pretty natural. But I'd critique that and I'd say he could add just a little bit more emotion, because when they sit on the bed, he looks a little bit unrealistic, just calming right back down. He should still be a little bit pent up. And well, just a couple episodes down, I get my wish. He does get more aggressive. Let's analyze episode 1x7, 23 minutes in. Here we can point out one secret good thing and one very bad thing. The good thing is Jesse is great at pausing between the screams to give them more power.
What about Popclaw? She had a name too. Charlotte!
Also love the beautiful little voice cracks that come out when he said, threw her out like garbage. Like, that was amazing.
You put her in danger, and then you threw her out like she was fucking garbage. How does this not all start with you, Hughie?
But the bad part is, I get it, he's supposed to be a little bit of a funny character, but even when he's meant to be angry and screaming, he always gives off a bubbly comedy vibe. It could be due to him following not all of these acting tips. Maybe it's the tone he speaks with. It's not aggressive. You're just gonna be in good, okay? You're good. You're good. One really quick honorable mention I really want to throw in is Ashley, acted out by Kobe Manif. Episode 3x5 and episode 3x6 really show her off well. The way she has those slight lip quivers, the way she's able to use her eyebrows and head tilts to bring out that aggression. She definitely has that talent bottled up, but I don't have enough footage to go off of. I can't put you in with these people, okay? But I mentioned you. This right here is the final acting tier list from every single actor in The Boys. Let me know which people you agree or disagree with and give me an explanation in the comments below. And now that we talked a lot about actors today, here you can watch a video about why you hate specific characters from different types of shows or movies. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. I love you guys so much. Deuces.